Well, hello. What are you craving today? Chocolate, potato chips, M&Ms? Sin is like that very thing that you crave, something that you should not have. But we're going to dive into it. But before we do, I want you to go to our YouTube channel, My 2 Cents for Change, and subscribe. And we're going to talk about that. I'm Tanja. I'm just dropping another nugget. It's just my 2 cents for change. Okay, I talked about cravings when I started out. And we all have cravings. But here's the thing about cravings. In the natural, when we work out and go to the gym, that kind of offsets, when we want to crave something, or when we actually, because you can crave anything, but you don't have to indulge in that craving. That's the issue with sin. Satan tempts you. He dangles it right in front of you. And he ain't going to dangle it with nothing that you don't like already. He ain't going to ask you, if they ask you if you want some Funyuns and you don't like Funyuns, he ain't going to put that in front of you. But if you want some chocolate and you crave chocolate, oh my God, that's what he's going to dangle. And that's that sin that he tries to put in front of you. But guess what? We all have a choice in life. God made us free agents to do what we choose to do. He is not going to make you do anything. But here's the thing. Just like in the natural, when you start working out and you going to the gym and that body start to look right, those cravings that you're going to add those pounds on you, you get rid of those. Same thing in the spiritual. The cravings come, which is the equivalent of sin. But see, the problem with sin is we indulge in it when we're not in our word. The being in the word and spending time in prayer with God is like the same thing as going to the gym. So when you spend time with God, the more you spend time, the more you know what he says about what you should and should not do, the more he tells you who you are and your worth. It's easy to, just like, no, that scripture says, the weapons will form, but they won't prosper. That's a choice you still have to make. The weapons come at you, but those are still choices that enter your mind that tell you, okay, you know what? God will forgive you. It's okay. And then as soon as you go ahead and do it, you feel so horrible. Don't let the devil do you like that. Take those cravings or that sin and tell it to go somewhere and go back to the pit of hell. Because that's where it needs to go. It don't mean that you're not human, but the more you get into the word and work out that mind, reading the word and praying and fasting and getting before God, the easier it is to say no to those temptations. Because that's just the same thing with going to the gym. You don't want to work hard and then all of a sudden you got something that, come and you just start splurging. You just get into the chocolate and just eat it. And then you get on the scale, next time you done gain 5 pounds. That's disappointing. But God's grace and mercy for those of you that's like that in the gym, and you faithfully trying to do what's right, and all of a sudden you make a mistake and you eat a little chocolate or ice cream, whatever it is you like. You don't stay in that moment. You ask God to forgive you and you move on. Just like you go back to the gym and you keep working out. And the more you work out, the less those cravings will come. The less those temptations will come. Now, I don't say that you won't have them, but they'll lessen. And then he'll try something new, but you always got to be on God. That's why when you're in your word and you're praying, that's a craving that, because we crave for the word. A lot of times we crave to pray and then we get distracted with the things of the world. Oh, somebody called, I got to go here. Or I go on Facebook, I'm just going to look for a little bit, tell people happy birthday, and then you're on there forever. Instead of getting to your word, instead of praying and going before God, asking what he wants and giving him thanks for all that he's done for us. Those cravings for the word, don't neglect that. Don't neglect that. That's the kind of the equivalent of what I'm talking about with those cravings for natural things, the foods and stuff that you crave. You want to go in that gym and work it out, just like you want to go in the word and hear what God has to say to you and what he's saying about you. That craving, don't neglect. Get in there, study the word, read it, know everything that God says about you. Let me give you a scripture too that I can give you, because it's a lot of things that we can do on our own. But in Romans 2:13, it said, for it is not those who hear the law who are righteous in God's sight, but it is those who obey the law who will be declared righteous. So, we can be craving for the word, but if we don't get into it to hear the word, to know what it's saying, who are we? So we want to make sure from here on out, when we crave the things of the Lord, the things of the Spirit, go for it. Even if you're afraid, step out on faith and do what God is telling you to do in obedience. He honors that. Those cravings, make sure you indulge in the word and in prayer. And in the flesh, natural, get to the gym. Do what you got to do. You might not make it every day, but go every other day. I'm just trying to make it simple and something that you can relate to, because we all make those New Year's resolutions and we start at the end of the beginning of the year and we do so well and then we just fall off. But here's a chance to make both things right. Take care of yourself. You got one person that you got to care for, because if you don't care for this person, the person that you are, that God made you, you can't take care of nobody else. So the same way with the spiritual, how do you win people to Christ if you don't know what he's saying about what we should and should not do, who he is, why we need to be saved, who's that light? So let's go ahead and make sure we represent Christ in the best way possible and crave the things of the Spirit, getting into that word. Until next time, that's just my 2 cents for change. Again, subscribe to our YouTube channel, My 2 Cents for Change. And until next time, we'll see ya. Be blessed.